Did you know that there are 4 different types of PCOS? You may be wondering which one you are and what the 4 different types are. In this video, we're going to discuss the 4 types of PCOS, how you can recognize which type you are, and how you can treat them naturally. Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a clinical nutritionist with a special interest in PCOS. Each week, I'm bringing you simple, actionable nuggets of information about PCOS and how you can support your symptoms naturally using the Nourish Natural Health PCOS Repair Protocol. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in. Understanding what type of PCOS you have is the key in understanding what type of management you need. This is because each different type of PCOS influences your hormones differently, and these hormonal influences go on to produce high androgens, which are the cause of those pesky PCOS symptoms like acne, hair loss, facial hair growth, irregular periods, and even infertility. So because the higher androgens are actually what is causing all of your symptoms, we need to understand what is causing the high androgens, which impacts the hormones in different ways depending on what the root cause is. This is why it's important to dive deeper. It's also important to recognize that the root cause of PCOS is often multifaceted. If you think you have multiple root causes, then stay to the end and I'm going to give you some instructions on exactly how to proceed if you don't know which root cause to start with. The 4 types of PCOS are insulin-resistant PCOS, adrenal PCOS, inflammation PCOS, and post-pill PCOS. First, I have to talk to you about insulin resistance PCOS. This is because in up to 80% of cases of people living with PCOS, they are affected by insulin resistance. This means that it's the most common amongst anybody with PCOS. So simply put, insulin resistance occurs when there's a high amount of glucose in the blood. Insulin is secreted, and if there's too much insulin over time, the cells can actually become desensitized to insulin, meaning that the cells won't open up and let the glucose into the cell and out of the blood. So if we can't get glucose out of the blood and into the cell, that means that blood sugar levels remain unstable. And it also means you have high circulating insulin. These factors contribute to hormonal disruption, and androgenic excess, which we just discussed, is key in all of those really annoying PCOS symptoms. Here are some signs and symptoms that you might have insulin resistant PCOS. Tiredness after meals, brain fog, specifically after not eating for about 3 hours, sweet cravings after meals, dark circles around the eyes, difficulty losing weight or uncontrolled weight gain, and many more. Since so many of our PCOS sisters have insulin resistance as their root cause, most would benefit from natural lifestyle and dietary interventions to help support insulin resistance. PCOS type number 2 is adrenal PCOS. The adrenal glands are glands that sit on top of your kidneys, and these glands play a specific role in the stress response. Essentially, you're having an abnormal response to stress. The adrenal glands pump out a huge amount of cortisol, adrenaline, and DHEA. Both of these go on to increase androgen levels in the blood. DHEAs are specifically androgenic and cause a lot of PCOS symptoms. When your response to stress is biochemically abnormal, this means you may have similar amounts of stress to other people, however your body is reacting in a different way. If you have ruled out insulin resistance as a driver in your PCOS, then you very possibly have adrenal type PCOS. This can also look like having high energy in the evenings after 6 p.m, really struggling to get going in the morning, or if you had a traumatic event during puberty or even in the last 5 years, or just any event with really high stress, or if you dieted significantly during puberty. This also applies if you have excess androgenic symptoms, however your blood tests don't show high testosterone levels. This is because of the way that DHEAs increase androgenic levels, as we just discussed. Type 3 is post-pill PCOS. If you didn't have PCOS before you went on the pill and you've recently come off the pill and now you are experiencing PCOS symptoms, then you likely have post-pill PCOS. Now I want to highlight this is for people who didn't experience PCOS symptoms before they went on the pill, yet they are when they come off of it. If you experience PCOS symptoms and then you went on the pill as a way to treat these symptoms, and now you've come off the pill and you have PCOS symptoms again, this means that you have a different root cause. not post-pill PCOS. It can take a while for the hormonal cascade to restore after you come off the pill. The hormonal birth control pill, when you're coming off of it, can also interact with insulin. And we know that high insulin levels are one of the main root causes for PCOS. The good thing is that most of these symptoms are temporary because it can just take time for the hormonal cascade to restore. Once it does, your cycle should return to normal. However, hormonal birth control can influence insulin levels. So it's important to look out and see if you are showing any signs of insulin resistance. And the final type 4 is inflammation PCOS. This is only the root cause of your PCOS if the other 3 types have been eliminated. And this is because every type of PCOS will have some type of inflammation in the body. So if you have inflammatory PCOS, you likely have another root cause that is driving the inflammation. However, in some rare instances, this is not the case. Severe immune dysfunction, like autoimmune disorders, including Hashimoto's and thyroid dysfunction, are one of the main contributors to inflammation PCOS. There are more than 80 autoimmune conditions, and all autoimmune conditions are caused by some kind of inflammation and tissue damage. And this inflammation can go on to cause PCOS. And lastly, digestive disorders like IBS or SIBO also contribute to great amounts of inflammation, which can go on to cause PCOS. Testing your vitamin D levels, testing your thyroid antibodies, and having full blood count can help you determine what is causing the inflammation. Again, this is for people who have ruled out type 1, 2, and 3 PCOS. At Nourish Natural Health, we feel strongly about empowering you to take charge of your own health. So I'm going to give you some quick tips to help get you going and help to manage the 4 different types of PCOS. One of the first steps that you can implement, no matter what the root cause of your PCOS is a PCOS repair breakfast. This includes a high amount of protein with low starchy vegetables. This can look like eggs and kale, or protein powder with fruit and even frozen cauliflower. I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, it is so good. We want to avoid sugars or sweeteners, as well as grains and high starchy foods at this time of the day. We also want to aim for low sugar fruit, low starchy veg, and a good amount of protein, about 30 grams. This is going to stabilize your blood sugars throughout the rest of the day, and it's also going to save those insane energy crashes, as well as giving you enough room to consume more protein throughout the rest of the day. Once you've identified one of the 4 PCOS types, you can then start implementing specific dietary and lifestyle changes to treat that specific root cause. There's a lot that goes into treating insulin resistance, but here are 3 quick tips that I can give you to help manage your insulin resistance. The first is to reduce high fructose corn syrup. This is the enemy to unstable blood sugars, which is essentially what insulin resistance is causing. And this will make your cells even more insulin resistant, only progressing your symptoms and putting you at risk for type 2 diabetes. Next is to consume a high amount of protein. We heard that you want about 30 grams for breakfast, and then at least 25% of your calories for each meal should also be protein. This is because protein is the most satiating macronutrient. It also stabilizes your blood sugars by slowing down digestion, and it helps keep you fuller for longer to curb cravings. And next is to find joyful movement in your day. The best exercise for PCOS is the one that you enjoy most. Make a conscious effort to find a way to move every single day in a way that feels exciting and natural to you. This may be bike riding, it may be going to the gym, or it may be a Pilates class. Whatever works best for you is the best place to start. Eventually, once you have a routine established, it's best to start incorporating as much strength training as you can to help support your exercise, as well as helping to support insulin sensitivity. Essentially, the more muscle you have, the less insulin resistant you become, which lowers androgen levels and lowers all symptoms. And lastly, supplementing can really increase your chances of combating your insulin resistance. The Nourish Natural Health PCOS Bundle Plus is a bestseller. It's scientifically formulated to help on a nutritional biochemical level. Next, let's talk about type 2 or adrenal PCOS. When it comes to adrenal PCOS, the number one thing to consider is balancing cortisol, which is the stress hormone, which essentially means regulating stress. A dysregulated nervous system can have an abnormal reaction to stress, which goes on to perpetuate PCOS symptoms. With adrenal PCOS specifically, you want to watch what kind of workouts you're implementing. This is because high intensity, high impact workouts that happen all the time in the morning can increase cortisol levels, which has detrimental effects to your body. A relaxing workout like yoga or even Tai Chi can be much better for your health. Our first step to managing adrenal PCOS is to empty your stress bucket. Getting a pen and paper and starting to unpack your stress, removing it from your brain into paper has a profound effect on your life. The next is to create a balanced morning routine. If you can create a routine in the morning that makes you feel safe and regulated, then you can start your day on the best foot forward. We recommend keeping your phone in a separate room and trying not to check it for the first hour of the day. Your routine can look like taking a shower by candlelight, meditating, or even some yoga. It can also just look like going for a walk. Whatever you think is going to work to regulate your stress levels first thing in the morning is going to be the best ritual for you. Next, regulate cortisol through melatonin. So this means having good sleep hygiene, staying away from screens 1 hour before bed, and trying to keep the same bedtime every night. A step further to balance melatonin levels is to get sunlight into your eyes first thing in the morning. Check out the Nourish Natural Health's Adrenal PCOS Bundle Plus for high-grade quality supplements to treat adrenal PCOS on a biochemical level. Next, let's have a chat about post-pill PCOS. As we discussed, with post-pill PCOS, it only applies to those who have PCOS since coming off the birth control pill and not having it before. So the first step is to sit back and stay calm and just roll with it. Know that this is temporary and you're just trying to re-establish the hormonal cascade. Eating a balanced diet can regulate blood sugar levels, which will prevent you from moving into insulin-resistant PCOS. And having balanced blood sugar levels will help you to restore your natural cycle quicker. Next is to take an anti-androgenic supplement. Nourish Natural Health have a bestseller Androgen Blocker Plus, which helps to block the signs and symptoms of excess androgens, which is the most pesky part of post-pill PCOS. By blocking these androgens, you can reduce acne, facial hair growth, hair loss, and even help to restore ovulation. The next step is to support your gut health. Research shows that the pill has a mild antibiotic effect on the gut microbiome. And without a healthy gut microbiome, you can disrupt the digestive system. And as your body is trying to re-establish the flow of hormones, it's important to keep your digestive system healthy so that you can detoxify hormones, as well as reducing systemic inflammation. Do this by keeping a balanced diet, as we spoke about earlier, and favoring prebiotic fiber in your diet. Once we have eliminated those 3 root causes of PCOS and we're still stuck and we don't know what our root cause is, then we're looking at inflammatory PCOS or type 4 PCOS. Inflammation that can be systemic can go on to cause PCOS. When this happens, the first line of management is to get your thyroid antibodies checked. Thyroid hormone imbalances can cause similar symptoms to PCOS, whereas PCOS is specifically high androgen levels. This means you want to rule out thyroid hormonal imbalances. Specifically, hypothyroidism can increase androgen production and impair ovulation. These are similar symptoms to PCOS, which is why diagnosis can sometimes be missed. It is also common for people with PCOS to be living with a thyroid condition. Step 2 is to heal your gut lining. As we just discussed, inflammation in gut health is systemic. Research does show that those living with PCOS have less types of healthy gut bacteria than the general population. Microbiome disruption also goes on to influence metabolic disorders, which goes on to influence insulin resistance. Number 3 is to eat an anti-inflammatory diet, focusing on things like omega-3 fatty acids from oily fish, olive oil, and dark red berries, all contain powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Favoring these kinds of foods, eating them every day, and limiting inflammatory food is your foundational defense in managing inflammation. We have the Inflammatory PCOS Plus bundle that helps to address the root cause of inflammation PCOS, so that you can also help with supplements to reduce your inflammation. Now that you've heard all that, you may still be wondering which type you are. There are 2 things that you can do from here. First is heading to the Nourish Natural Health website, where we have a free quiz that you can take that will give you the results and tell you what the root cause of your PCOS is. You also may be feeling like you have more than one root cause. This is extremely common. What's best to do from here is to look at all the root causes that you have and determine which one resonates most with you and which one do you think is going to relieve your discomfort quickest. We start with treating that root cause before we go on to treat the others if necessary. Lastly, I can't express how important it is to find a community of people who know, like, and support you. This is important because community and building connections is essential to your health. Make sure you check out our sisterhood so you can join our tribe and find the support you need to manage your PCOS. So which PCOS type do you think you are? Let us know in the comments because we'd love to hear. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any more videos with PCOS education. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!